We're learning Elul Nishmas Etta Ahuva Bas Yaakov Mesachas Bava Kama Perek Yod Mishna Beis. Natul Muchsin Es Chamoire V'Noston Le Chamar Acher. If the tax collectors took his donkey and replaced it with a different donkey, so the question is, could he use that donkey? Or Gazul Listim Es Ksusay V'Noston Le Ksus Acheres. Listim stole his clothes and replaced it with other clothes. So the question is, could he use that clothes? Elul Shloimie Shabaylam Misyaishe Mehem. The stum of the milsa is that if a tax collector or a listim takes something from someone, that person is miyayish, and therefore you're allowed to keep it. Rashi explains that there's yish and shini rishus as well. The Gemara itself is mashma that there's only yish, and therefore according to the Manda Omer that says yish kedi loikani, then you would not be allowed to use it, and you return it to the Bailam Harishonim. The Mishnah continues, Hamatzel min hanor, oy min hagayis, oy min halistim. If someone saves an item from a overflowing river or an army or robbers, im nisyayishu abaylim, if the baylim are miyayish, harei elu shaloi, then you can keep it. So the question is that over here it seems that listim is stama de milsa, that he is miyayish, and the beginning of the Mishnah said, some of the mill said that he's not miyayish. It's only if we hear that he's miyayish. And the beginning of the Mishnah said that listim stam of the mill he is miyayish. So the Gemara is mechalik between listim Yisrael and listim Avoidei Kachamim. V'chein nechil shel dvarim. Same thing if you see a swarm of bees that belongs to someone. Im nisyayishu abaylim. If the baylim were miyayish, harei elu shaloi. Stam of the milsi is not miyayish, but if you hear it's miyayish, then you could keep it. Omer Rabbi Yochanan ben Breika, nemenetz isha ikatan loimer mikan yatsa nechil zeh. A woman or a child is believed to say that these bees came from this property, and the Gemara explains, even though normally we don't believe in isha and a katan, over here, they were Mesiach Lefi Tuman. Even Mesiach Lefi Tuman, the Gemara says that normally we only believe Mesiach Lefi Tuma by Edis Isha Belvad. When a person, for Aguna, if a person died to allow his wife to marry, that's the only time we believe Mesiach Lefi Tuma. The Gemara says over here, the kinyan of the bees is only a kinyan midirabanan in the first place. So therefore, since it was midirabanan, we believed an Isha and a Katan Mesiach Lefi Tumai. The Mishnah ends off, a person could trespass into someone else's property to save his bees, but if he damages the person, then he has to pay what he damages. Aval, the Tanakama says, you can't damage that person's branch in order to save your bees, almanas, that you'll reimburse him. That you can't do, l'chatchila, to go ahead and do that. However, Bishmo he holds af koitzitz v'noises dama. Even l'chatchila, you could cut down the other person's branch almanas to save your bees, and you'll reimburse him for any damages that you did. And the reason for that is the Gemara explains that Yeshua made a special takana almanas kein hinchel Yeshua es haaretz, that you were allowed to do such a thing. Mishnah Gimel hamakir kela v'sfara biyad acher. If someone sees his utensils or his books, his svarim, in someone else's property, and there's a rumor that his property was stolen, so we can assume that the person that bought it off the Ganev, and really this is the Kalim and the Svarim of the person that's claiming that it's his, of the original owner. The halacha is the Bailam have a right to take it back, and the Lekeach will get reimbursed for his money that he paid al yidei a shvua. Ve'im lav, but if there was no rumor of a geneva, that no shame geneva was in the city, so then there's no reason to assume that this was a stolen object. Rather, we assume that the Bailam Harishonim sold it to a middle person, and that middle person sold it to the person that has the property now, and therefore this lekeach is allowed to keep it. The Rashi explains that this mission is all talking about lefnei yish. If it was la'achar yish, then for sure the lekeach could keep it. We're talking about lefnei yish. And afal pikin, even though it's lefnei yish, and we know it's stolen, still the lekeach is able to keep it by paying money for it in the Reisha, because this is a takanas hashuk. The Gemara says it's a special takanas hashuk, which Rashi explains that if someone buys something in the marketplace b'far hesya and he didn't know that it was a stolen object, we made a special takana that he doesn't lose his money. One last thing to speak out, that this whole Mishnah is talking about that we don't know who the Ganav is. It's Loi Hukra Ganav. In the Gemara, there's a lengthy discussion if we do know who the Ganav is. So whose din is it to deal with the Ganav? Is it the din of the Balabayas? And that's a discussion in the Gemara.